Okay, welcome to 2022's tier list of books that I've read. Basically, some books are just terrible and others are incredible. So the tiers that I've made for this round are reread, something that I would reread. I almost never reread a book. So if it's good enough to read it a second time, it was an amazing book. Then we have Keep It on the Shelf. It's like a really good book because I would for sure keep it on the shelf just in case. It was I liked it. I read it. I finished it. Nothing to write home about. Donate it. I read it once. It was fine. I'm donating it. Burn this. I hated this book. So I'm just gonna get to ranking. First up, we have Live No Lies by Edward Snowden. I'm gonna go keep it on the shelf. First, because if you get rid of it, the government's gonna track you on it. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I am scared for my life after reading this book. And that's fine. That's just fine. Then I have Fly Away by Kristen Hanna. I would like to say burn this. Here's the thing, it is a sequel to Firefly Lane, which is one of the best books I've ever read. I was so pumped for this sequel. And then there were just like absolutely disgusting, terrible graphic depictions of self-harm. And I couldn't read it. So burn it. Next we have Live No Lies by John Mark Comer. I'm going to say donate it. I don't remember anything about this book. It was like so talked about in the Christian Reformed community. It was like, this book is fantastic. Give it to everyone. Read it together. Read it multiple times. I'm going to say I don't remember anything that happened in this book. Donate it. You don't need it. The Boy Who Was Raised as a Dog. Keep it on the shelf. Kept me on the edge of my seat. Made me feel sick to my stomach. Again, so books that scare me, keep them. Keep them just in case. The Remarkables by Margaret Peterson Haddix. I don't remember much about it. I'll put it at it was aight because it's a children's book, so it's not going to be like amazing, but I mean, I finished it. Maybe He Just Likes You. It was aight, again, a children's book. Pretty sad. It's about like sexual harassment of a junior high kid, so it was aight. Girl Forgotten, more like book forgotten. Donate it. I only found out after I finished it that it's a sequel, so maybe I would like it better if I'd read the first book, but it was fine. It was just really long, and like I remember what happened in it. I'm gonna say donate it. I don't ever need to read it again. I'll take your questions now. The Stephanie Grisham book on the White House. It was aight. Kept my attention. I finished it, even though it was nonfiction. So that's impressive. It was interesting. I felt like it was really fairly written. Like there were a lot of criticisms of the Trump White House, but then like some things that were positive. So overall, it just seemed like a really fair book. It was aight. Alistair Begg, Brave by Faith. I'm gonna put it again at it was aight. It was like energizing about your faith and living out your faith. Nothing wrong with that. It's a book about the book of Daniel. It was good, no heresy, so it was aight. In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. Keep it on the shelf. It was a good book. It was a good book. It kept my attention. I read it in, I think, a day, maybe two. I really loved the love story. If you don't like reading about sex, it's not for you. That's all I'm gonna say. The Winter Sister. Keep it on the shelf. Excellent. Held my attention. Really dark, kind of sad. Loved it. Woke Racism, John McWhorter. It was aight. I was really surprised by some of the things he was saying, but I felt like I learned something about tokenizing Black people from a Black man. So it was probably good for me to read. But yeah, it was aight. One of Us is Dead by Geneva Rose. Donate it. This book is dead to me. It was very dramatic and like mean. I didn't like it. Survive the Night, keep it on the shelf. Absolute winner. Great book. Riley Sager. He is so hit or miss. Some of his books I hate, some of his books I love. This one was probably his best book that he's ever written. It was, I could not put it down. It was great. Agatha Christie, The Mysterious Affair at Styles. Burn it. So boring. If you ever wanted to like watch a video of somebody else playing Clue, maybe this is a book for you. If you, yeah, no, there's no other person who would like this book. It's boring. That's all. The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. I'm going to say burn this. I don't know why I keep picking her books up. They're not good. I don't even know why I finished it, to be honest with you. It was just absolutely boring. So there's that. Nicholas Sparks, The Return. Burn it. Burn this book. This is maybe the worst book I've ever read. It was a love story. And it was the creepiest protagonist ever. Trevor Benson is the creepiest protagonist ever. I hate him. She should not fall in love with him. He's a creep. So, yeah, The Return, terrible book. Waves of Mercy, Lynn Austin. I'm going to say it was aight. I read it for a book club with my family, so that was really fun. And it was a Christian book, which was fun. It was a romance book, which is fun. It was a historical fiction, which is fun. It just like wasn't my favorite book ever. So nothing really to complain about. The House Across the Lake, Riley Sager. Donate it. Not worth it. Shouldn't have read it. Kind of boring. Where the Crawdads Sing. I can't believe I'm going to say this. Reread. It was so overhyped to me by like everyone. And so when I first read it, I was like, all right, this is what everybody's been like raving about. Like they've never read before. But then like the more time that passed after I read it, the more I like thought about the book. And I was like, all right, that kind of hit. So really good. Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. Keep it on the shelf. Couldn't put it down. Super interesting. Loved it. Lucy Foley, The Paris Apartment. It was aight. I finished it. It was aight. That's it. Veins of Gold. Burn this book. It was a children's fiction, like magic-y book. So I don't know, I was just trying to branch out and it could not keep my attention. I was like, why is this existing? So, burn it. I don't even think I finished it. I might have. I was so bored. Small Angels, Lauren Owen. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I still have like a couple chapters left after this, but it is a truly captivating book. I'm going to keep it on the shelf. I just love the gothic novel vibes. It's one of my favorite genres, I think. So keep it on your shelf. Choosing Love in a Broken World. I read it with some teenage girls, so I think like age appropriate wise, it was really good. Addresses sex and marriage really well. I would say keep it on the shelf. Good book. Court of Thorns and Roses. Oh, donate this. I don't understand the fairy stuff that people read. It's so boring. It's so boring. Don't pick it up. If you're like it's boring. It's boring. I gave it a fair shake. I'm bored. It's over. Haley Mills, Forever Young. It's a memoir, and I would say keep it on the shelf. It was enchanting. I love her. I love her. I love her. I love her. She's so honest. Great book. The Lost Apothecary. Keep it on the shelf. I read it in like one day. I thought it was a great book. I've thought about it a few more times, so maybe reread. It was that good. Really loved it. Not much to say about that. The Honey Don't list. Honey Don't read this book list. Donate it. It was like a one and done, fun read, easy read. I don't need it anymore. No thanks. The Magnolia Palace, Fiona Davis. I would put this at reread. That was one of the best books I've read this year. That was a great book. Historical fiction. I just really loved it. I don't know why. I loved it. 100 Years of Lenny and Margot. My mom said this is the best book she's ever read. So I was super bummed for it. And bro, donate it. The characters are not that lovable. I wasn't enthralled in the storyline. Like, I did not care. Did not care. Donate it. The Wife Upstairs, Rachel Hawkins, burn this book. It was bad. I cannot understand the hype. That was like a way overhyped book, and I don't understand. Burn it. Not worth it. The Masterpiece, Fiona Davis. I would put it at... It was right. I read it because I had read The Magnolia Palace, and I wanted to read more by the author because I really liked her, and it was good. I just don't remember much about it, which means that it was right. Malibu Rising, Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is her best book I've ever read. I loved it. It was a really good book. It's either keep it on the shelf or reread. I'm going back and forth. I'd say keep it on the shelf. I don't think I'll reread it, but I'll keep it on the shelf just in case. So that's where I'll put that. School for Whatnots was another Margaret Peterson Haddock's book, but I'm going to put it at keep it on the shelf because I thought it was better than The Remarkables. Best like children's book I've read all year. The Family Plot, Megan Collins. It was right. I finished it. I really liked it. Actually, that was a really good book. I'll put it at keep it on the shelf. It was kind of a weird premise and not something I would normally recommend, but I really liked it. Gentle and Lowly, reread, for sure. Dane Ortland, he's my pastor, and I put off reading this book for so long because so many people, like, hyped it to me, and I was worried that I wasn't gonna like it. I would say keep it on the... I would say reread it. Like, I will reread it. So, and I'm giving it as gifts to a lot of people this holiday season, so that's how you know it was really good. Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It was right. Like, if you're gay, maybe you would love it. I feel like it was just like, it was alright. But, I don't know. I wasn't like, couldn't put it down, so. I felt like it got more hype than it deserved. Summer I Turned Pretty. It was right. I don't know. I just don't have much to say. It's like, oh yeah, I read it. It was good. Done. Kristen Hanna, The Great Alone, the best book I've ever read, probably. The more I think about it, the more I think it's the best book I've ever read. It is about a family who moves to Alaska, and I can't get over it. It's just such a great book. And finally, A Brief Theology of Periods. Keep it on the shelf, just in case. It's a theology book about exactly what it sounds like. So these are the books I read in 2022, and let me know if you read any of these, what your take is. This is just my opinion. Maybe you loved one of the books that I hated. Maybe you hated one of the books I loved. But this is what I read this year, and I'm looking forward to doing more reading in 2023. Merry Christmas.